In the long war in Afghanistan, 10 years and counting, it will go down as among the darkest days. The U.S. military acknowledges that a single American soldier walked off his post before dawn yesterday and shot 16 civilians to death in their homes. Villagers wrapped the victims in blankets. The dead were mostly women and children. In fact, 9 were children. President Obama stopped while taking his daughter to her basketball game yesterday to talk by phone with the president of Afghanistan and express, quote, his shock and sadness. Mr. Obama has said that most U.S. forces will be out of Afghanistan by 2014, and he says this tragedy won't change that timetable. But the president added this in an interview with reporter John Delano of Pittsburgh CBS station KDKA.
It's time. It's been a decade, and frankly, now that we've gotten bin Laden, now that we've weakened al-Qaeda, we're in a stronger position to transition than we would have been 2 or 3 years ago.
As we said, the U.S. military acknowledges that an American soldier committed this atrocity, but it hasn't charged him or released his name. He turned himself in at his post after the killings. Here's David Martin with what investigators know about him and the shootings so far.
With blood still on the floor, a distraught Afghan woman described in horrific detail what happened when a U.S. Army sergeant went on a cold-blooded killing spree. He dragged the boys by their hair and shot them in the mouth, she says. He went door to door in 2 villages, showing no mercy. Is this 2-year-old a Taliban fighter? This woman asked. The sergeant tried to burn some of the bodies, then walked back to his base and turned himself in. 38 years old and a veteran of 3 tours in Iraq, he was assigned to a special operations unit training local villagers to fend for themselves. According to Seth Jones, who served as an advisor to the training teams until last year, the sergeant might even have known some of his victims.
It's a very hands-on effort that means interacting with villagers literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The soldier likely knew these people?
It's possible. In most cases, a soldier would be extremely well acquainted with villagers.
According to Jones, this part of southern Afghanistan has been fought over ferociously.
It has changed hands multiple times between the Taliban on the one hand and the Afghan government and NATO forces on the other.
The villagers were caught in the middle, just trying to survive.
They will shift to support whichever side is in control.
None of which explains why an American soldier would kill children in what military defense attorney Neil Puckett says could be tried as a case of premeditated murder.
Based on the facts we know now, this would be a case where the Army absolutely would start out at least seeking the death penalty and refer it as a capital case.
Pentagon officials say they are sure the sergeant asked alone because after Afghan guards had reported that he had left the base, U.S. troops held a roll call. He was the only one not present and accounted for. They went to his bunk and saw he had taken his rifle with him.
David, have you been able to learn anything about his mental health?
Well, earlier in his career, he passed a battery of psychological tests in order to qualify as a sniper. Then in 2010, he was evaluated for mild traumatic brain injury after he rolled his vehicle in Iraq. But he was judged to be fit to return to duty.
David, thank you very much.